welcome to today's episode of Erongo Talk. My name is Adolf Kaure and I'm coming to you all the way from Walvis Bay at the Walvis Bay Golf Club. So in today's episode, I'll be bringing you the news, weather and tides and two very interesting interviews. The first one is with author Graham Louw, who talks about his latest book, A Place Under the Sun. And then we'll also have an interview with award-winning visual artist who specializes in wildlife, and he goes by the name of Paul Dixon, and he'll be sharing more about his exhibition, which launches today at the Fine Art Gallery. So don't go anywhere. Here is today's calendar day. It is now time for the news here at the Walvis Bay Golf Club. Firstly, the Namibian President, Dr. Hage Geingob, will today hand over houses to the Twaloloka shack fire victims. So this fire, which took place last year, destroyed over 158 shacks, and a 1-year-old baby or toddler also lost their lives during the inferno. So the current shack fires that survived this ordeal currently reside at Otoya in tents. So it is really a great initiative by government to provide housing, because it is definitely a basic need. Secondly, in some crime news, a 29-year-old man in Swakopmund murdered his girlfriend after they argued, and through domestic violence which took place at their home, he unfortunately managed to kill her. The man later handed himself over to the police, as police reported. So that is the news. Do check it out on our website, which is www.erongo.com.na. Alright, I'm here with Mr. Graham Louw, who is very famously known for Rossing and Rossmund, and he has this wonderful book right here known as A Place in the Sun, a story of Rossmund Golf Course. How are you doing?
Thank you, Adolf. Nice to meet you. Thank you. And to answer your question, I'm very well, and I feel very well, and I enjoy life, and I don't have any problems or ailments or anything like that.
Awesome. And obviously you have some time on your hands to write some nice books as well. You started off with The Tiger by the Tail, the story of how Rossing was discovered.
Yes.
Uranium. And now you have a second one, A Place in the Sun. Can you tell us why you decided to title this book A Place in the Sun?
Yes. Well, Adolf, I was involved with the golf course before it was started here because of my connections with Rossing and my connections with the municipality. As you will see in the story, I have a long association with the mine and also with the municipality, where I served for 22 years. when the time came to consider building a facility, a golf course facility, for the first time ever, a grass course facility, not sand like we used to have. I was part of the discussions, the early discussions, which Rossing played a prominent part. And they built the golf course here. They created it, and they created the facilities. And the municipality had donated the ground, 100 hectares, for this purpose.
When was this?
This must have been round about 1979. We built the first 9 holes, and 10 years later, 1989, the second 9 holes,
yes,
which gives you 18 holes, full golf course to international standards.
And it's like an oasis in the desert, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Well, it is. If you look out here, it is indeed, it is a miracle, Adolf. There was nothing here. There was only sand and dunes and sand and brock bushes and nothing else. And out of that, this facility has been created. And if you look out here and you see not only the development of the golf course as such, you see all the trees and the greenery and the wildlife and the birds, but you also see a housing development now,
yes,
which, if you look across to the east, the first phase is virtually completed already. The second phase is going the same way. It's doing very well. And it's become an essential facility for the community.
Yes, and Rossmund, can you explain to us how that name came about?
Yes, Rossmund. Rossmund is a combination of the name Rossing and Swakopmund. Swakopmund is directly involved because they owned the fallow land here, and Rossing Uranium, they had the know-how to build this. And the two parties got together, and it was discussed in full council and agreed upon, and a contract was drawn up. The basics of the contract was that Rossing would cover all the costs, they would create it, and the municipality in return would donate the land. So you had the two names, you had Rossing and you had Swakopmund
combined.
So we put the two names together.
Awesome.
And we cloned the name Rossmund. And it's there forever.
Forever. Yes. And all of these details is a very beautiful historic narrative that it can be found in this book here. Yes. Where can people find this book? A Place in the Sun.
Yes. It's a place I call it a place in the sun instead of calling it any other name, because it literally is a place outside the mist belt of Swakopmund. It's 10 kilometers inland, so it's in the sun. But, of course, we also have our mist sometimes, and we don't see the sun, or we see too much when the east wind blows. But by and large, it's an ideal place in the sun.
Where can we buy it? Where can we get this book?
You can get these books. They are available at the bookstore here, the Swakopmund Boekhandel, and also at the Mushel. They are the suppliers to the market.
Yes. And just a brief, before we get you out of, before we finish off with you, just a brief history of Mr. Graham Louw.
Yes.
can you please tell us about yourself in a nutshell?
Yes, yes. Adolf, if you read the stories, you will see that I was born here in Swakopmund. I was born here in 1927. It was a small town then. Population wasn't very big, maybe about 500 or 800 families that lived here, and they were mainly German families, which families that had stayed over here after the First World War.
Yes.
They had already established themselves here. They had their little businesses, and you probably read all about the early history of Swakopmund. My parents came out here in 1924, and they bought a little property here on the beach, a little wooden cottage, and we were born, my two brothers and I. We were three boys. My father was from South Africa, and my mother came from Scotland, and they met in London in 1922. It's also a long story.
It's available in this book as well.
Yes, and that's how they came here to Swakopmund, and that's how we were born, the three brothers. You had an older brother and a younger brother.
And you, the Louws are, if you can put it in a nutshell, are the people who discovered the uranium in Rosmund.
Yes, yes.
In Rossing, sorry.
That's an important part of the story. It forms a cornerstone of A Place in the Sun.
Yeah.
Because the two go together, the Rossing story and the golf course story. Yes.
All right. What is your last word for our viewers out there?
Well, I would like to say that I've been very lucky in life. I've been very fortunate. People often ask me, what is the secret to be 94 years old? And I look forward to quite a few years old. And what is the secret behind it? I think that a certain amount of luck is involved, like anything else in life. I believe that 10 or 20 or 10% is luck, and the rest is hard work. And also the genes that you inherit, the DNA from your parents. If you've got strong DNA, then you've got the basics of a good life ahead of you, and you have to look after it. And you have to have an interest. You have to do things which inspire you. You have to use your DNA and the adrenaline that comes with it, and the stimulation. Those are all part of it. And if you've been lucky enough to inherit those qualities, you have to use them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Graham Louw.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
That was Mr. Graham Louw,
yes.
And this has been Erongo Talk. Do keep on watching Erongo Talk as we keep working for Namibia. It is now time for the entertainment news, all the way from the Walvis Bay Golf Club. So firstly, Swakopmund-based musician Mark Preller released his latest offering, which is a single titled Final Frontier. So this body of work is actually an instrumental which was produced at Nautilus Studios in Swakopmund. So for those of you who do not know Mark Preller, he is a very gifted musician who also spent time in the United States as well as Cape Town. Do go check out our website on www.erongo.com.na to check out more information regarding to this story. In our second story, another Swakopmund-based musician, Livinge Dennis, released the video for her latest single titled Tell 'Em. So this video was shot by Nautilus Media, and I have to say I'm really privileged to have watched it. It features some clips from artists like Savannah Collins and the likes, very traditional, and you can find it on her YouTube page. Do go and subscribe to her YouTube page to check it out in full length. So Livinge Dennis obviously is well known for being a very energetic live performing artist, and she has traveled many different countries like Zambia, South Africa, as well as Germany, to do tours there and performances there as well. So yeah, Livinge has also been performing in Swakopmund and will be performing in future. So you might get a sneak peek or even a chance to hear her perform this song Tell 'Em if you do check her out at one of the gigs here in Swakopmund. So do go check out this story and more entertainment news on our website, which is www.erongo.com.na.
First came to Africa 40 years ago, the thing that struck me most about it was the size of the sky. Because in Europe, the skies are often quite low because it's overcast and cloudy. So I think that's the first thing that struck me about Africa. So it probably stems from there.
And Paul, you are an award-winning artist. Tell us a little bit more about your recent awards that you have won.
Last year, 2020, I was a winner in a magazine competition in the United States for over 60s, because believe it or not, I'm over 60. But the main one for me last year was the David Shepherd Wildlife Artist of the Year competition, and I won a Best in category. And it's a bit like the Oscars for wildlife art. So I was very, very pleased about that. Yeah.
Wow, and I'm sure there were hundreds of wildlife artists from across the globe that took part in this.
Absolutely, yeah. There's some very, very good artists from all over the world. They had entrants from over 100 different countries. So it was quite something to be a winner.
And tell me, how did you get involved in painting, and why specifically wildlife?
I think, I've always drawn quite a lot just with pencil when I was a kid growing up. But when I first came to Africa, my first port of call was Zimbabwe. And on the drive through Zimbabwe, we saw warthogs running around. There were giraffe walking around, free ranging. And I was fascinated by this because you don't get to see that thing in Europe,
Yeah.
So I think that's where it came from. And then visiting the national parks, Kruger and all the others. But to me, Etosha has a special meaning. I don't know what it is, can't explain it, but I get drawn back here time and time again.
It's in the heart.
So, absolutely, yeah.
And you are not only a wildlife artist, you love animals. Like, tell me more about, if I can put it, some of the projects that you're also doing for animals, whether it's elephants. I mean, there are some animals that are endangered and people don't really care about them. How do you compensate for these animals with your art?
I think an important part of being a wildlife artist is, without the wildlife, what would I paint?
Exactly.
So I think it's important for me to give something back. And as you say, there are many species which are now endangered. And the human race needs all animals, insects, bugs, plants. We all need each other because we're all interconnected. So if something goes extinct, we're all going to take a hit from it. They talk about the big animals, elephants are becoming endangered. But it's not just about elephants, it's about the smaller ones as well. There are many, many species that are in trouble.
Like bees, for example?
Bees. I mean, those little humble little bees. Without them, we would not survive.
Exactly.
So, but I think it's important that governments that have the power to do something, to change things, they should step up and do some more than they're actually doing now with climate change and all of these other things. They have the power to do it, they need to do it.
Hi there, I'm Rayon Smith, and this is...
And Django.
And we're here talking to you about how you can get the most out of your live show and create a great performance. The tip for today is involving the crowd in such ways as clapping, Get them involved, Get the hands moving. Take it to church. Another way is clicking. And if you want, you can do some back and forth call responses like howdy, 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 hi.
Howdy, 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 howdy.
Odi, 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 yo.
Odi, 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 odi.
Hee-dee, 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 hee.
Hee-dee, hee-dee, hee-dee.
These are certain ways that you can get the crowd involved. All right. Cheers.
It is now time for the sports news. So in our first story, great news for all the cricket lovers out there because the cricket season is back and back in full swing. Why do I say this? Because tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, there's going to be cricket action here at the coast, specifically in Walvis Bay. So there's going to be a double header, 2 matches taking place at the same time. The first match is going to be between Sparta 1, who are going to be taking on Sparta 2, and that is going to be at the Sparta Cricket Ground. So you don't want to miss that one. It's going to be happening in the afternoon, kickoff at 1 o'clock. Same time, Blue Waters 1 will take on Blue Waters 2 at the Oval Cricket Ground. So really great rivalry at the coast. We want to see who's going to take it home because the semi-finals for this cricket season will take place in October. So great news for all the cricket fans out there. Really awesome to see sports in full swing again. Secondly, the Autumn Netbank Golf Series took place at the coast recently with a tournament which took place at the Rossmoon Golf Course. So this is a really awesome initiative because it is a charitable event where all the proceeds generated through this tournament goes for autism patients and for autism awareness. So really awesome stuff. As this series continues later on inland, we want to see how much money will be generated through this. Really awesome initiative by Netbank, and it's awesome to see corporates coming on board to support golf and special needs and needs like autism and these kind of illnesses in our community. So do go onto our website, which is www.erongo.com.na for more sports news. Do stay tuned for the tides and the weather forecast for all the major towns in the Erongo region.
In your weather for today, Walvis Bay expects a maximum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 23 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a south-southwesterly direction at about 17 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 4 minutes past 7 and sunset is expected at 6 minutes to 7 tonight. Swakopmund expects a maximum temperature of 19 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 21 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a south-southwesterly direction at 15 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 4 minutes past 7 and sunset is expected at 6 minutes to 7 tonight. Walvis Bay expects a maximum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 20 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a southerly direction at about 15 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 5 minutes past 7 and sunset is expected at 4 minutes to 7 tonight. Arandas expects a maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a southerly direction at 11 kilometers per hour. Usakos expects a maximum temperature of 37 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 37 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a northerly direction at about 11 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 2 minutes to 7 and sunset is expected at 11 minutes to 7 tonight. Karibib expects a maximum temperature of 36 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in a northeasterly direction at about 11 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 2 minutes to 7 and sunset is expected at 11 minutes to 7 tonight. Omaruru expects a maximum temperature of 36 degrees Celsius for today, with a minimum of 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. The wind is expected in an east-northeasterly direction at 9 kilometers per hour. Sunrise was this morning at 2 minutes to 7 and sunset is expected at 11 minutes to 7 tonight.
And that brings us to the end of this Friday edition of Erongo Talk here at the Walvis Bay Golf Course. So, do not forget that we also have a website, which is www.erongo.com.na, and you're welcome to check out all our news and so much more on that website. So I repeat that website again. It is www.erongo.com.na. Our WhatsApp number, and which is also our Telegram number, is 0811 70040. So I repeat that number again, 0811 70040. This is your go-to number for advertisement opportunities, and you can also send us your news tips as well as videos in landscape mode to this number. Do not forget that we're still in perilous times, as COVID-19 is still rife. So don't forget to wash your hands regularly, sanitize, and keep a social distance. So now that it's Friday, let me get this weekend off in full swing.
Kinda crazy how we met. Man, your boy was such a mess. You were out of my league, but I took my shot and you ended up saying yes. From the moment I saw you, I got a feeling that was so intense. I was nervous on the first day, so I had to fake my confidence. And then I became your man. That made my day. Once a couple of freaks together, you're the one who paid. Had a lot of arguments, but you feel okay. The moment that I cherish were the moments we prayed. I got some love for you, and it will never die. I got a plan for you, I'm talking Jeremiah. Girl, you got my heart beating, you give me butterflies. And I can see your DMs, in there I better slide. Now you're the reason I got love songs on my playlist. They wanna know who you They check my status. I heard them say there's plenty fish in that sea. I got no fishing quotas, you're the only fish that I see. Listen girl, I really dig your energy. I was hoping that you could come and chill with me. And on my life, I promise to love you right. We could live this life together, baby, won't you be my wife? Listen girl, I really dig your energy. I was hoping that you could come and chill with me. And on my life, I promise to love you right. We could live this life together, baby, won't you be my wife? I don't got keys to the Beamer, but I'm really hoping you can be my baby girl. You could dinner back with me, you surely be a winner. Now baby girl, you decide. You can be the DV9, always be by my side. And I promise I'ma treat you right. Had to learn how to admit, really thought I made you dip. I was single for so long, I didn't know how to be in a relationship. And now we back together in harmony. I'ma get it with all of me. I'ma be the whole, but you would be every single part of me. And later on, we can make this official. I put a ring on it and then I change your last initials. And girl, I found love and gave up on searching. No need for upgrading, cause you are the only version I see. In those times when you're listening to sad tunes, I will make you smile even when you're in a bad mood. I cannot wait to the day where I say I do, and make the vow that I'm gonna love you like I do. Listen girl, I really dig your energy. I was hoping that you could come and chill with me. And on my life, I promise to love you right. We could live this life together, baby, won't you be my wife? Listen girl, I really dig your energy. I was hoping that you could come and chill with me. And on my life, I promise to love you right. We could live this life together, baby, won't you be my wife? I do love you all the time, and I wanna make you mine. I do love you all the time, and I wanna make you mine. I do.